When Tim Steidten rocked up, I got excited, not just about who he potentially might bring to West Ham or the revamp of the West Ham recruitment team, but more about the fact that West Ham can now start signing players. I get excited when West Ham sign new players. I look forward to it. Last summer I was looking forward to seeing Paqueta, Scamacca, even Cornet. When we signed Cornet, I thought that was a really good signing. I look forward to seeing new players at West Ham United in the new season. And with the appointment of Tim Steidten, it felt like now I can start to look forward to it, because up until now the transfer window's all been about selling Declan Rice. It's all been negative. We're losing our captain. We're losing our best player. How are we going to replace him? Well, my confidence in replacing him somewhat adequately has increased over the last few days. But that appointment has now allowed me to start looking forward to seeing new players. But there's a big barrier, and that is the sale of Declan Rice, because it's largely believed, and I do believe it, it's largely believed that it hinges on selling Declan Rice to Arsenal, that what the money we get is the money we will be using to fund our player recruitment this summer. You don't have to believe it, I'm not saying you do, but I do though. So because of that, that's why today I was hoping the Declan Rice transfer would be concluded. I was hoping it would be done today, or very, very close to being done. Announced tomorrow he's an Arsenal player. Right, fine, done. Let's crack on with our own business. So this morning I was hoping for some positive news. Now there was positive news via Fabrizio Romano, and I'm going to read out a couple of tweets to you. They're a little bit conflicting, but I do think they can go hand in hand. And I'm going to read them to you so you don't have to use 2 of your 600. You've only got 600. Use them wisely. Don't waste them on reading Romano's tweets. I will read them to you. Don't say I'm not nice to you. I'm thinking of your 600. I've used 2 of my 600 though. But anyway, Romano at 1 a.m. That man don't sleep. During the summer transfer window, I'm convinced Fabrizio Romano is awake 24/7, just constantly tweeting transfer news. He's an animal. Transfer window opens, Fabrizio Romano comes alive. Anyway, at 1 a.m. this morning, he tweeted, Arsenal and West Ham now really close to final agreement on payment terms for Declan Rice. Final green light expected very soon for both Declan Rice and Timber, as both deals at very advanced stages since Thursday, Friday. Good news, that's what we want to hear. The Rice transfer saga is nearly over. West Ham can get the money, Steidten can get it going, Moyes can get these new players in ahead of pre-season. Our first friendly next Monday, by the way, a week. Our friendly's in a week. It doesn't feel like there's been a closed season, does there? Because we've had the internationals, and now we've got like the under-21s tournament at the minute. It's then pre-season. I mean, some teams have already started their pre-season, but West Ham's first pre-season friendly is next Monday. Anyway, so that happened, and then we got a bit of a conflicting report from Sean Whetstone. He goes by West Ham Football on Twitter, but Sean is good when it comes to West Ham news. He tweeted, West Ham are prepared to walk away from the £105 million deal with Arsenal if they don't get their way in the next 72 hours. Hammers have dug in and made their position clear on payment structure and other clauses to successfully conclude the deal. The ball is in Arsenal's court. Take it or leave it. That's the reports. Now, before we discuss them and I give my opinion, this video is sponsored by the OneFootball app. OneFootball is back on Hammers Chat. We have worked with them for many, many years, actually. They've been one of our best and biggest supporters of the channel, and we're collaborating them once more. So if you want a fantastic and free football app on your phone, then get it downloaded. It is the best place to get your one-stop shop for everything to do with your football club. Whether you support West Ham, whether you're watching this and you support Arsenal, I'd imagine you're going to leave pretty soon, but before you do, download the app. Doesn't matter who you support, your club will be on there, but it's not just clubs, it's good for keeping up to date with competitions, such as the England Under-21s tournament that they've got going on at the minute. It's good for keeping up with all the big news in and around the Premier League. So you go on there, you can see Tottenham in negotiations with Sullivans, for example. You go on the West Ham page, you can see that West Ham are keeping Scamacca next season. We're being linked to Onana of Everton, and it's completely free. So please get it downloaded. We are very picky with who we work with on Hammers Chat. We will not promote anybody. We turn down some lucrative brand deals in the past that would help us out a lot, but we turn them down because we don't like the brand, or we don't want to work with the brand, or we don't want to promote that brand. But OneFootball is something we are proud to promote and someone we are proud to work with. Like I said, it's a free football app. You can't go wrong, so give it a try. Links in description. Click it, download it. You'll be supporting Hammers Chat and you'll be supporting OneFootball, and hopefully OneFootball will continue their journey with Hammers Chats. But thank you very much, because it helps the channel a lot having OneFootball on board, and it's thanks to you guys that get involved with our sponsors as and when we have them. But anyway, back to the Declan Rice topic. So I say conflicting reports. kind of is. Romano's saying it's close and Sean's suggesting it's not that close. Now, one of the clauses I've seen that West Ham are trying to implement into the deal at the 12th hour is that we want a sell-on clause for any profit. Makes sense. Don't see why Arsenal would have an issue with that, to be honest with you. But bear in mind, it's 100 million. The guaranteed fee is 100 million. So for there to be a sale of profit, Rice is going to have to be exceptional. And there's probably only like 2 or 3 clubs that could afford to buy Declan Rice from Arsenal with a substantial profit. Man City, Real Madrid, PSG... maybe Man United if they get rich and fancy. But apart from that, there's not many clubs that could buy Rice with a profit going to Arsenal. So it makes sense for West Ham just to bulletproof themselves, because it would be a bit embarrassing if we sold him for the 105 million and Rice ended up, it's unlikely, but we're going extreme here. If Rice ended up winning the Ballon d'Or or something, as one of the best players in the world and end up getting a £150 million move, it's good for West Ham to want to cash in on that, just in case it happens in future. But that's one of the clauses West Ham try to put in. But obviously, as we know, the big stumbling block is the payment structure. Arsenal want it spread over 3-4 years. West Ham want it in 18 months. I don't have an issue with either club doing it. I get why Arsenal don't want to do it. Like I said, Arsenal are not the picky ones. Arsenal are trying to do this transfer like a traditional transfer is done these days, which is paid up over the player's contract. They're not asking for anything unusual. They're trying to do things in a normal way. It's West Ham that are being a bit awkward. It's West Ham that are trying to do things a little bit different, and that's because we're under pressure. We're on the FFP watch list and we're trying to get the money in now to comply with UEFA, and also to, I imagine, to give Steiden the funds so he can get rocking and rolling in the summer transfer window too. So it's us that's being a little bit difficult. I will say, I think it's good to see Sullivan, Brady, West Ham in general, whoever it is doing these negotiations, it's good to see us digging our heels in actually, and not just bowing to, well, we turned down 2 deals, we've agreed the 105 million fee is just about how it gets paid, but it's still good to see us playing hardball. But at some point we're probably going to have to take it, because at the minute there's 3 options. Well, I guess there's 4. 1, we agree to Arsenal's terms. 2, Arsenal agree to West Ham's terms. 3, we meet in the middle somewhere, which I think would be the most likely outcome at present. Or 4, which is we walk away like Sean's suggestion. Now, I can't see number 4 happening at all. I would be shocked. And I don't want us to. Do I want to lose Declan Rice? No, I do not. I think he's our best player. He's our captain. Am I worried about next season without Declan Rice? Of course I am. He's that good. He's been doing the job of 2 players essentially. He's that good. I think he's going to be a huge loss for us. Is he irreplaceable? Yes. But can we replace Declan Rice and upgrade a couple of other positions in the team and actually become a better team off the back of it? I believe that as well. I can believe that while we can't replace Declan Rice like for like, I do feel we can become a better team overall with good player recruitment. But you can only do that with the Declan Rice money. And I just don't see us walking away from this whatsoever. And I think it's important. Sullivan went on TalkSport and announced to the world there's a gentleman's agreement between the club and the player that if a club came in and met his valuation, which we would expect it to be 100 million now, given we accepted this, and they're a Champions League club, we would let Declan Rice go. That's been met. I would be surprised if when this gentleman's agreement took place between the club and Declan Rice, Rice was notified about the payment structure. I would be surprised if it was that detailed. So in theory, has Arsenal met what West Ham have said to Declan Rice, this will be the trigger for your release? I'd imagine they have. And I think that if they have done that, I think we should honour it. I do feel we should honour it, because it sets a precedent going forward as well. If in future we need to have a gentleman's agreement with another player and we've backtracked on what we promised Declan Rice, why would they believe anything we say? They wouldn't. I think we have to honour our agreement with Declan Rice, and that is to let him go to Arsenal. And I guess this depends on whether you believe the reports that the money we've got to spend this summer is basically the Declan Rice money. The player sales is what we've got to spend. Now, I know it doesn't work like that and the net spend will be 0. I know net spend's not really a thing in football. It's a way of simplifying it though, incomings and outgoings. I imagine our net spend will be 0. I do believe those reports that we don't really have money to spend bar what we're bringing in for player sales. And if that's the case, I don't believe that we've been able to attract Tim Steiden with a transfer budget of £0. He's not going to have come. I think part of the reason, and this is my own theory, I think part of the reason Steiden came to West Ham is because that we were selling Declan Rice. And 100 million is a lot of money for a technical director, the guy in charge of the transfers, which is on West Ham's website. When they released their official statement on Saturday on the website, it says that he's going to be in charge essentially of player recruitment. 100 million is a lot to spend. Now, I know people disagree with me in the previous video, said 100 million for a Premier League club's not much. Tim Steidten hasn't been at a Premier League club, he's been at a Bundesliga club. 100 million for a German club is a lot of money. Now, there was a transfer window a few seasons ago. I think Leverkusen spent 90 million. They signed Diaby that summer, but they also bring in a lot of money as well. But to come in and have 100 million to spend, I think anybody in that position, which is what Steidten is in at West Ham, they'd back themselves. They should do. If he's good at a technical director, if he's good at player recruitment, then 100 million, he should be rubbing his hands thinking, this is easy, this is. It's like it's not quite the same, but just for a really bad comparison, if you play Football Manager or LMA Manager back in the day, or FIFA or whatever, and at the start of the season you bump your budget up by 50 million, the game becomes easier because you've got a lot of money to spend. And if you're a technical director, you're going to back yourself with 100 million. You think, yeah, I can bring good players to this club for that much money. And our transfer plans probably do hinge on selling Declan Rice, so we need this to go through. I don't believe West Ham will walk away. I do believe Sean was told that, though. I do think what Sean's put out is what he's been told by the club at boardroom level, with the purpose of calling Arsenal's bluff a little bit to try and get them to hurry up. Because while Romano says we're close, we possibly are, and I do think a deal will be concluded, it does feel like there's a little bit of a Mexican standoff at the minute where Arsenal are thinking, well, for a week now, we've been the only club here. Nobody else has come along. Man City publicly pulled out. Nobody else has come to the table. So if you're going to sell Declan Rice, he's coming to Arsenal. This is the only place he can come. No one else is coming. So the power is sort of back in. The power has been swinging between the clubs. And when we had City there, it was good. But now it's back at Arsenal. And like I said, Declan will be wanting this move. He met up with Mark Noble at the weekend. He's returned from his holiday. There's been videos going around on social media of him playing with Lenny, Noble's son, which I don't read too much into because while Noble's obviously sporting director, he's got his own relationship with Declan. And Noble, he perhaps hasn't been pro-selling Declan Rice, but I think he's been pro-Declan Rice leaving West Ham to further his career, which I don't mind. I know when you see Noble, at the time he was West Ham's captain, now he's sporting director. He's almost a spokesman for the football club now. So to hear him talk about our best player leaving the club is not great. But I think what Noble does is separate the two. And while on one hand he is all these things for the football club, he's also one of Declan Rice's best friends and someone that Rice clearly trusts and has listened to throughout his career. And as one of Rice's best friends, he will probably say to him, you need to leave West Ham in order to further your career. So he's met up with Noble at the weekend anyway. I think this will get concluded. I'd be shocked if it didn't. I think it's just a case of West Ham via someone they trust to put the news out there, and Sean Whetstone. I think they're just putting it out there that they're willing to pull out the deal. I'd be shocked. I'd somewhat be proud if we did. If we decided, no, that's it, and we pulled out negotiations and Declan was a West Ham player, I think fair play. That is serious cojones by West Ham United to do that. But my immediate worry would be the same one as a lot of you are having right now, which is, what does that do to Declan Rice? Up until now, I've had zero complaints about his commitment. He's given 100% to the football club. In the games as well, I never felt he was ducking out of challenges or anything. He's given everything to us. He's been a model professional. But he's never had a club bidding yet. Last January, the summer before that, at no point did a club come in and bid. Never mind have a bid sort of provisionally accepted depending on payment structure. So would we have the same Declan Rice next season? I don't know. Then there's the element of the gentleman's agreement. We've told Declan, if a club bids 100 million and it's a Champions League club, you can leave. I'd be surprised if part of that conversation it was a case of, and they pay it in 18 months, you can leave. I'd be surprised if that was part of the conversation. So as far as Declan's aware, I wouldn't be surprised if he's thinking, hang on a minute, Arsenal have done what you said you needed in order to let me leave. And I think we should honour that. If the gentleman's agreement, what was spoken about between the club and Declan, has been met, I think we should honour that. I think it's important for future that we try and have another gentleman's agreement with another player, that there's evidence in the past, in this case of Declan Rice, which is we will stick to it. We will honour it at our end. should we play hardball and not let Declan get his move? I think that becomes a little bit tricky. I think that's when you break trust a little bit with Declan Rice and potentially other members of the squad as well. Also Mark Noble, it puts him in an awkward position potentially where he's probably expecting Declan, one of his best friends, to go, and we know how Noble can react to player sales that he doesn't agree with. See Grady Diangana. I would read you that tweet, but then that's 3 on my daily allowance, and I'm not doing that. I'm not giving you my 3rd tweet of the day to tell you what he said about Grady Diangana those few years ago. But anyway, there you go. That's the latest on Declan Rice. I was hoping it was going to be concluded by now. Hopefully it shall be in the next few days. I'll be shocked if it's not. I will be shocked if he's... I've sort of given up. I've become resigned to him joining Arsenal. I've actually got to the point now I want him to join Arsenal. And just because, like I said, I believe that sale, our incomings hinge on him joining Arsenal. So I want him gone now. I'm like, please just go so we can crack on with things. So we can get in players that want to be at West Ham, that can see their long-term future at West Ham. And I can look forward to these new players next season. I can't look forward to Declan Rice at West Ham next season. Even if he was to stay, there'd be an element of me like, does he want to be here? Sign a contract with a 100 million release clause, then I'll get excited. But until then, I'd be a bit iffy. So, yeah, Declan, hopefully he gets to Arsenal soon, and hopefully we can see some Steiding magic and get some players in ahead of pre-season, which starts next week. If you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on, subscribe if you're around here, and be careful on Twitter. You're only I600. We'll see you soon.